Well, hello everybody. Welcome. Cody here. So I'm very excited. We have another light language transmission to share with you guys. So this is also going to be a podcast as well. So throughout this podcast, we're going to talk about the nature of this transmission, some of the messages from spirit that is coming through, the divine guides, any sort of messages that they like to come through. I format these podcasts to allow them an outlet to express any of the messages that they have for the people who choose to listen to this or watch this on YouTube. It's also a podcast, so if you listen on audio as well on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, this is created with the intention to reach all of you where you currently are at, and invite codes of activation, invite codes of healing and wellness and awakening. So we've set that intention. I have some oracle cards here as well. So at various points throughout, perhaps I'll pick a card, and I'm also going to set the intention to pick a card of the day as well. So that can be a fun thing because I really just like seeing spirits' artful depictions, of what is in store for us for the day. It's a really fun tool. I've talked about this before, but spirit uses every possible outlet, every creative outlet to get through to us in a way that we're most able to receive it. So if you're not a person that is able or comfortable enough or practice enough to sit and meditate and hear your guides through whatever method is most useful to you, all of our guides work a little bit differently depending on how our brains operate, right? So our brain is like a tool that the divine uses, and once it penetrates the mind, it is filtered through the mind through a way that you are uniquely able to perceive their messages and be guided from the divine. Remember, the divine is a life force energy. It is your soul, it is your spirit that fuels your physical vessel. And when we move in coherence and alignment with that energy, everything that we do will be of benefit to us. It will also be very enjoyable. It checks all the boxes because the universe wants us to feel good. It does not want us to feel bad. Remember, the feeling or perception of being or feeling bad is simply just being in resistance to the natural flow of the universal energy. So, without further ado, we are going to channel some light language. I also have a number of questions from the Discord group on Patreon. So if you're a part of the Patreon group and you're on Discord, I will be answering your questions from that on here, okay? So I'm going to be channeling those, of course. I'm just opening that up here so that at whatever point throughout this that the guides feel like it is the right time to channel those messages, we will invite them, okay? So I'm just going to channel this now so you can get into a comfortable position and communicate that message that you're open and willing to receive these codes of activation, these codes of healing at this time. For your highest good and your highest good only. Okay, highest good and highest good of all. Remember, when we are in alignment with our highest good, there is a symbiosis. Remember, we are made to interact with one another so that we can embody our full selves. Let's talk about this for a second because Spirit is prompting me to talk about this. We are collaborative beings, okay? Think of the universe as one collective organism. Think of Source God as one organism that all of us are a part of. In order for that organism to function at its highest capacity, every single one of the pieces of that universe must operate at the highest capacity as well. So the universe wants you to be in your best self because it wants you. It knows that when you are in your highest form, it is serving the highest form of all. It is serving the highest good of all. It is serving the higher functioning of that greater organism. So this is why the universe is literally designed to make us be our best self. It is miraculous. It is powerful. And when we are in resistance, when we are telling ourselves that we can't do what the universe wants us to do or be, we create an incredible dissonance within our being. It festers, it metastasizes, and it can turn into physical ailments or actual cancers in some cases. If you are in that degree of resistance to who you are and to yourself, you will manifest some form of struggle in order to make you aware of what needs to change, what needs to be let go of, so you can be invited into who you truly are. Okay, so we're going to deliver this transmission. Actually, one of my guides are coming through here. This is an ascended master being. Okay, this is Krishna. Krishna is coming through with a light language transmission, so very, very appreciative of this. This is a light code. This is also healing, empowerment. There's many different aspects of this, so we'll talk about this afterward. But healing, clearing, okay? This is a lot of clearing. So if you're looking for that, this is going to help with that as well. But Krishna usually always has some sort of activation as well, but we'll see. Maybe there's just a message that he has today, okay? Handiri enemea sania wa kandaria shaha. Handiri enemea surimishu kumbu ifiri enemea la. Iele wala hala inia sana emia kandaria. Siri ene kuma yua ene yua. Wa ini yena aya haya na sara wa kum. Mia ne era seri wa sharia. Light language code of activation, healing, clearing of the heart space. The heart is the center of the being, so when we do clearings around the heart, we're doing clearings around the entire body. It is the core, it is the nucleus of the being, it is the bridge. It serves many, many purposes. So whenever we access this part and we do some clearings around this part, this is really the crux and core of your being that we are establishing an alignment so that you are in position to receive the highest messages, the highest good, and whatever is made for you at this particular moment, okay? If you are here in this moment, there's a reason why you're here. So let's make that be clear. You wouldn't be here if you weren't meant to be here. So there's something here for you in this moment if you are here and if you've received that message. Okay. So I'm just assessing, okay, they're having me pull a card first, so this is going to be the card of the day. We're going to pull this card for the highest collective good of all. Would you look at that? Independence. Now, if you've been following this podcast, this card was actually pulled in the last one as well. Either the last one or the one before that, independence, okay? So clearly this is a really strong message from Spirit, okay? And as I scan clairvoyantly with them, what they have me see here is that each of you who are watching this, many of you, most of you, those of you a vibrational match to this message, when I look at you clairvoyantly, what I see is people who are at a transitional point in their life. I'm seeing those of you who are really stuck in this place where of uncertainty, of sort of contemplating what is next for you and losing hope, sort of deferring to that indoctrinated belief that the universe doesn't work the way that it works, that the universe doesn't work to serve you becoming everything that you've ever imagined yourself to be or ever dreamed yourself to feel in this life. You forget that the universe is designed to help you actualize that. So if you're in this moment where you are feeling alone and you're feeling like I have to break away from this or I have to shed this or I'm just feeling confused and maybe I don't even know what I need to do, but I know this is off a little bit, this message is for you, okay? This is to remind you that there's something else coming for you, that there is another side of this. There's another flip side of this, okay? I like the analogy of thinking of trauma, and when we heal from our trauma and shape and shift into who we're meant to be, it is basically like taking your trauma and turning it inside out, because you're taking the anxieties and insecurities and fears and you're exalting them into a form where you are capable of not only conquering all that, but actually helping and serving other people who have gone through similar things like that as well, okay? That stress energy that has carved that specific skill set out for you, those strengths, that resilience, that comes from your trauma. And when you turn your trauma inside out, all that trauma turns into strength, okay? So independence, we're talking about people who are just stuck in this place where there's something next. New beginnings, okay, are emerging for you. That came really clear. New beginnings, okay? This is your awakening, okay? This is the beginning, though, okay? So when we talk about awakening, it's so exciting, right? There's so many things that we're awakening to, but we forget that there's a lot of pain that is uprooted as well. And like I've said this, and I'll say it again. Once you begin awakening, you don't have a choice to unawaken. You can choose to resist the process of awakening further, but once you open that can of worms, it's all out there, and you can choose to disregard it and resist your shift, but that's going to cause you a lot of pain and struggle. Okay, the root of all struggle and suffering is resistance. So when you're in resistance toward that, that's what's going to happen for you. So if you look closely, if you're watching the video portion of this on YouTube, he's reaching to this little furry friend here. Companionship, connection, okay? Longing for somebody to make you not feel like you're alone in the way that you feel, okay? To feel connected to the rest of the world, okay? To feel connected to other people comes from having resonance, okay? This is why groups like this, Patreon on YouTube as well, and the Divine Creators with Cody on Facebook group, all of these things are really great tools, okay? They're like training wheels that help us become more aware that there is a reality where we don't have to feel so alone in this world, where there are other people who think like us, okay? We don't get to choose. Well, on a higher level, I suppose we do get to choose. We do choose the circumstances that we come into this life, because we know that those difficult circumstances are going to shape the exact person that we are designed to embody, to become, okay? That is our soul in our highest form, that is meant to be anchored in its natural essence here in this world, but it's hard to adopt all those traits of that soul here in the physical dimension without coming into circumstances that are going to help shape that, okay? Sometimes that's very difficult. So you're not alone. That's the message here. You're not alone, okay? If you feel like you're alone, I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you, you're wrong. You're not alone. The universe didn't put you here so that you could feel alone. The universe put you here so that you could see if you could find people like you, and that you can create sort of a hub. And through that hub, it helps you create more of what you've meant to create and embody and become here and live here the way that you're meant to live here. And that is through collaboration. That is through connection with other people, okay? So that's that message, okay? And what we're going to do now, again, and this is something, remember, that you can actually do as well. So I'm opening the channel up to channel these questions that we have from the Discord group on Patreon, okay? So this is exciting. We haven't done this before. We're going to take actual questions from the patrons, okay? So first question is from Carmen. Hello, Cody and Rhoda. Rhoda is one of the guides that I used to channel for this group. This forum is called Ask Rhoda. So when I started this forum, I was only channeling this one being called Rhoda. However, now it's just kind of turned into channeling whatever guide comes through. And sometimes that's their guide, sometimes it's just my guides. But we'll just see how this sort of flows, okay? So this first question here is from Carmen. Hello, Cody and Rhoda. Throughout my awakening journey, I've noticed that there is quite a lot happening with my nervous system. Much of the physical purging I'm experiencing is also connected to it. I was wondering if you could help me shed more light on the matter. What am I experiencing? What is the nervous system affected? When is the nervous system affected more extensively as compared to the rest of the body? And are there any particularly detrimental elements for it? Thank you. So what I'm going to do now as I have my notebook here. So you'll see me writing things down. Sometimes they're words, sometimes they're just scribbles. Again, sometimes they're codes, sometimes they're words. So what's happening right now, it's actually, maybe it'll be interesting to just share with you guys how this process works, because everybody can do this. This is not just me, okay? Intuition is about asking a series of questions and being connected, okay? So when you establish that connection in the beginning, right? Say, I'm connected, I'm connecting to the great divine. You can even do visualization processes, visualizing your light, being connected to that greater force, that greater light that is greater than you or I. So once you establish that, it's about a waiting game. You just have to be patient and you have to wait till the messages sort of emerge. So for each person, it's going to be a little bit different. Some of us are clairsentient in nature, so that means clear feeling in Latin. There's clairvoyance, that means clear seeing. Clairaudience is clear hearing, and claircognizance is clear knowing. So each of us have a different sensibility, okay? Depending on how our brains work and operate. So as I read this question, I will start getting impressions, and then it'll just, the message will just sort of set in, okay? And in that process, sometimes Spirit will have me just being guided to specific words in the question, or part of the question perhaps, that is really jetting out to me, that I'm like, okay, this is something that we need to talk about here. So I'm just going to scan the question again, and then we're going to just get into what Spirit has to say. So I have Krishna here. So Krishna's actually going to probably just answer this for you, Carmen. Lovely to see you, Carmen, or connect with you, see you clairvoyantly. The purging I'm experiencing is also connected to it. Okay. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so Carmen, this podcast is very, very much for you. The themes of it are very relevant for you because so they show me this crux in your spiritual awakening journey right now. So they're showing me this pocket of time. This is a make or break moment for you. This is one of those moments in time where there's a couple that we get in our life where we are presented with a choice. Okay? This is really key for you to understand, okay? Because they show me a fork, and they show me if you choose to disregard, which you're not clearly because you're inquiring about this question, but if you choose to disregard this symptomology, this is how we make decisions and make sovereign choices as human beings in this universe. People always get so confused when we talk about free will in this universe, because that is one of the governing laws of this universe. But they're saying, well, I want $1 million and I don't have $1 million and there's free will, so why doesn't that happen? Well, there's so many different elements of this. You can get into law of attraction, and what it really comes down to is, so when I see you, Carmen, I see this element of being very ungrounded, okay? They're uprooting trauma. They're uprooting themes, pain, that is going to get you to step into that next sort of chapter for yourself. But they're being presented right now for you in your dreams because they are making you aware of that choice. So sometimes we're not aware of what our choices are because we're not aware of what our vibration is signaling. We're unaware of our subconscious. We're not aware of what we are subconsciously giving off and radiating. So this is why free will does really get on people's nerves sometimes, because they need to understand that you must become conscious in order to use this function of free will. We have moments of being more conscious and really directing our lives and making choices, and we see that that does produce results. But there's aspects of our lives, holes, loopholes in our system because of trauma, because of distressing experiences that cause us to sort of have holes in our boundaries that correspond to subconscious aspects that we don't really realize we are giving off. Okay. So just to talk about that for a minute, and I'm just going to keep open this message because there are probably a lot of this message that they have for you that'll be relevant to a lot of other people. They are activating your light body, Carmen, and what they're doing is trying to anchor that light body here into the physical dimension, but it is meeting a tremendous amount of resistance. So imagine a very, very powerful stream of energy that wants to come through this massive funnel. However, what it's getting is a pinching of a straw. So where you're pinching off that very, very strong stream of energy that is causing a disturbance mentally, physiologically, as well as spiritually in your system. This is going to create, again, a lot of potential physical ailments as well, nervous system as well. I'm just going to look at some of your question here if there's any other specific points to touch on here. Because you say, what am I experiencing? When is the nervous system affected more extensively as compared to the rest of the body? So the nervous system is affected more when you are in high stress environments or situations. So that doesn't mean that you have to work on a 911 hotline, or a suicide hotline, where you're dealing with these high stress situations. Let's talk about trauma for a minute, okay? When we have trauma, especially when we're really young, and we suppress that trauma, that is energy that we're suppressing into a part of our being, okay? For you, that's around in the nervous system. You've suppressed that, and what happens is if we're not letting that energy discharge, it's going to fester, and it's going to get angry, and then it's going to revolt, and then it's going to get really, really just belligerent, okay? And what that corresponds to is a lot of stress energy in the body, but because you've dissociated away from it, you're not aware of that high stress energy that is on overdrive in your nervous system. So your nervous system is actually in overdrive when you're not even consciously aware of it. But if you're somebody, and they're saying that you are somebody who identifies as being anxious, having anxiety at times, this is where that comes from. If you're ever not aware of where this anxiety is coming from, that's because this anxiety is coming from this suppressed part of you. So if you can go back to that part of you and understand where that part of you comes from, and you don't have to understand the root of it. It's just about becoming aware of that sensation. So let's talk about this for a little bit. This could be a really great exercise, okay? So when you tune into the nervous system, Carmen, what does it feel like? Does it feel like butterflies? Does it feel like how would you describe that sensation? Does it feel like prickly? Does it feel like stabbing? Does it feel hot? Does it feel burning? Does it feel like butterflies? Does it feel flickering? Does it just feel cold? Maybe it feels, fill in the blank. Body awareness. When we talk about releasing trauma, which also has to do with spiritual awakening, guys, let's make that clear first of all. But when we're dealing with releasing trauma, what it is that we're working on is body awareness, becoming aware of the places in our body that, not just the places in our body, just becoming aware of the natural fluctuations and sensations in the body. When you become aware of that, you become aware of your subconscious. Your subconscious manifests itself through different sensations in your body or numbing in your body. And when we bring our awareness to the body, we're actually allowing ourselves an opportunity to process those feelings, knowing that those feelings don't come from this present moment. This feeling comes from a past experience, maybe 20 years ago, that it's just been stuck there, okay? So when we allow ourselves to feel that sensation and not identify with it, just feel it, just notice it, track it, right? This is called somatic tracking. When you become aware of it and track it, you're incrementally discharging that energy, incrementally discharging that trauma energy from your system, so that eventually you're not going to feel that anxiety in the nervous system. So you're not going to feel those ailments that come from the nervous system, that come from that overdrive in the nervous system. If you heal the root of the problem, there are no symptoms. Okay, so that's the message for Carmen. Okay, and there's a couple more questions I think that we're going to get to. Thank you for such a wonderful prompting, Carmen. This is highly relevant for a lot of people. And I'd love to hear if others resonated as well, okay? Okay, so Spirit Energy, 1111. Hello, Cody. Lately, I've been experiencing a sort of bulging, swirling pulse at my heart chakra. It is especially noticeable in the early morning hours. Sometimes I wonder whether it is an energy blockage, or other times I wonder if it is like the seed of a new possibility bursting out or the ground that I am. Can you offer insights to what is evolving here? Any suggestions for my highest good and spiritual progression? Also, during the day, I have spontaneous feelings of almost overwhelming sadness, but for no apparent reason. Soul healing. Thank you so much. Okay, well, these actually correspond, these two questions. So I'm glad that you asked for both of those. Okay, so they're showing me this is the very, very beginning stages of your spiritual growth. So we're just going to use the name Spirit Energy just to protect identities. Spirit Energy was the name on this thing. So I hope that you know who you are. I'm sure you do. Spirit period energy period 11 period 11. That's the title of the name given. Okay, you know who you are. Okay. So like I said, these two issues actually correspond. So they show me this is actually the very beginning, a very, very, very early stage of your spiritual evolution, which is so exciting for so many different reasons, on so many different levels. So what they show me is you're actually in a place in your life right now which is not actually totally in energetic coherence and alignment with your soul. And what's going to happen when that happens is leeches, right? Leeches, attachments, little things are going to seep in. So pretend like you're living in the jungle in a treehouse. Oh, it's so fun, like it's so great to live in this treehouse. But what are you going to expect, when you're living in the boundary of a forest? You're going to expect the little critters sneaking in, being inside of your treehouse, maybe crawling up on you, maybe biting you, maybe doing all these little things to you that aren't quite what you wanted, violating some of those boundaries a little bit, okay? So lately, I'm just rereading the question. Lately, I've been experiencing a sort of bulging, swirling pulse at my heart chakra. It is especially noticeable in the early morning hours. Okay. So, you are, okay. There's two parts to this question, so we're just deciding which one we'd like to begin with here. So I want to confirm, first of all, the seed of a new possibility. When I look at your heart chakra, I wish I could. I'm not a great sketcher, especially I do sketch actually, But while I'm channeling, this is not going to be the best, but I'll try to give you an illustration, a verbal illustration. So when I look at your heart, it looks like a portal. It looks like there's like an illumination right in the center of your heart, and it looks like a funnel. There's like a funnel opening, okay? But it's about the width of like a quarter and a half right now. And I can see an outer perimeter of it forming as well, which tells me that it wants to expand. Your heart is in the process of expansion. So we're actually going to do a little bit of a quick energy thing for you. So if I'm being guided to do this, this means that this is relevant for a number of you watching as well. So we're going to do this really quickly, and then we're going to get into the rest of the question, okay? This is for spirit energy. This is an activation as well as a clearing. Vali ala awa alhili ala sani uwakum na ili ele sana mahakiana. Okay. So clearing, activating as well, okay? So what we did is we took that part of you, what we're doing is activating it. Okay, so it's now going to expand a little bit more. And what it's going to invite again is exactly what you talked about here. Seed of new possibility bursting, okay? This is a really powerful energetic time. Wednesday, we are in the presence of supermoon energy right now, supermoon blood moon energy right now. So that is an incredibly powerful creational time for everybody. I'll probably be doing another video on this, maybe a light language transmission. New possibility, new chapters. Let go, okay? Let go of the old paradigm, okay? This is literally jumping time loops, okay? This is like quantum leaping, okay? That's occurring right now. And if you honor that little crux right here in your heart that is beginning to blossom and seed and awaken, follow that, okay? I want your practice every day to literally be focused on that little center that you feel right in your heart, okay? You can feel it, right? It's like a little acorn right there, just wanting to sprout. Meditate on it, focus on it, okay? Don't even think about meditation if that is something that you don't resonate with. It's the same thing. When I'm saying focus on that feeling every day, just take a moment every morning and just sit and focus on that feeling and let all the other thoughts just drown away. And what you're going to notice incrementally over time is that's going to expand more and more and more and more and more. Now, the other portion of this question is the sadness that is coming in. So that's like what we talked about in the beginning. You're not totally fully in alignment right now, but it is also corresponding to, like we said, that heart thing, okay? There is a lot releasing right now. So when we're in the process of transformation, right at the edge of transformation, the last layer of transformation is grief. Why? Because we have to let go. Letting go is the last stage before transformation, before growth. So grief is that last remaining layer of the heart, okay? Process the grief. Allow yourself to feel the grief. Think about what we just talked about with Carmen before this and use that a little bit for yourself. Just become aware of that sensation. Even if you feel like the sadness coming on, try to bring your awareness to that sensation that you talked about, that little, let's use your words, the bulging, swirling pulse in the heart chakra, okay? Just become aware of that each day. And if there's a little sadness that comes through, make space for the sadness. It's okay. Just tell that sadness, it's okay. Don't fight it, okay? Give it permission to breathe, okay? And you will move through it, okay? This is the grief that wants to discharge. That's that grief energy from the trauma that wants to discharge from your system, okay? And when you feel like the sadness coming out, that's just like little bits of that energy just like sprinkling outward, okay? Just seeping out, okay? And you can accelerate that process, but you can also do it in your own time by just allowing yourself to feel whatever is coming up, even if that is sadness, okay? So much love to you. Okay, next question is from Ashley. Checking in with Cody, I always enjoy your direction and reassurance. Feeling a huge focus on gut health and working through negative feelings of weight. Any assistance or insight and how this is relating to the bigger picture of where my life is going? Okay, Also, anything with riding horses, some days I feel super aligned and I love how that feels, and then it is like a slap in the face again, and it's like more emotional work, shadow work needs to be done. This has been so hard this past year. Also, is my is my soul braid still trying to connect with me? I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to be a disappointment to them. Okay, so we're just going to see which question your guides want to touch on first, okay? I can't believe that we're already on 35 minutes here, but we're going to finish, okay, because there's only 2 more questions here. So I am opening up the messages here because there's a lot coming through here for you. Oh boy, okay. Okay, so they're bringing me to riding horses first. Okay, because there is so much here, Ashley. I gotta be honest with you. There is so much to unpack, and I know you know this because you've been, writing in these questions for some time now, and we've been exchanging for some time now. We've also worked together in the past, so I just wanted to address what they're guiding me to right now is the riding horses, because there's so many different elements here that need to be unpacked, that need to be sorted out, that need to be organized, that needs to be pieced away, that needs to be pulled back, that needs to be let go of, that needs to be invited in. There's so much pieces, okay? You've spent a lot of your life being gaslit, being told what to believe, sort of being indoctrinated, in a sense, and that it's hard for you to listen to your own voice sometimes. So they're bringing me to the horses because this is one of the key emblems of your experience that they've caused that they've called in for you, okay? And this was intended for you. Horses were for you meant to be something that at any various point of your life that you feel out of alignment, horses were created for you to pull yourself back into alignment, to have some object of focus to help bring you back in coherence with your heart and soul. Horses. Because there's so much more here, Ashley, I just want to say focus on horses, being happy, riding horses. Now, there's some elements about the horses. Okay, let's just read here. Anything with riding horses, some days I feel super aligned and I love how it feels, and then it's like a slap in the face again, and it's like more emotional work, shadow work needs to be done. Okay, the emotional work and shadow work is coming up because you're not quite in a position in your life where it allows you to fully exalt that part of who you are. You used to love riding a lot more, correct me if I'm wrong, and something happened where you prioritize other things over that. I want to bring you back to that point in your life where you made that decision, and I want you to reevaluate. I want you to sit with what speaks to me in that moment. What does my heart want me to choose in that moment? You can go back in time in your consciousness and actually make that choice. And you do have the option to do that, but it is your choice and it is your option. And you must understand that when you do make these choices for yourself, you must understand that there are rapid, incredible shifts and transformations that are to come that are not always pleasing. So I do want to give a fair warning about that, because the name of the game is listen to yourself, follow your heart, and you will always be in alignment. You cannot not follow your heart and expect to thrive in this life. That goes for every person listening. So the overwhelming message that they have me across all of your questions is the horses. Focus on your horses. Prioritize horses. And if there are negative emotions that come up, it's okay. Just let go of the horses for that moment, if that feels right. And come back to it the next day, And just keep making it a practice. Keep communicating literally to the cells of your beings. Talk to the cells of your being and tell them, I promise you I will prioritize riding horses. I promise you I will prioritize riding horses. And for those of you who else is listening to this, the reason why I'm saying that is because every cell in our being is informed when we are in the process of manifesting something. So when we are creating something in our life, our cells are in the process of configuring, aligning, and transforming into a form and vibrating in a way that helps you become that, okay? And for Ashley, horses communicating to her cells that she is prioritizing horses is communicating to her cells that she is prioritizing herself, that is prioritizing her well-being, her heart, her love, her soul. And when you do that, you enter spiritual alignment, okay? Sending so much love to you. So much love to you, Ashley. Let's see. And Ashley, just about the huge focus on gut health and working through negative feelings about weight. The gut and the health problems stem from what we just talked about. All of these physical ailments, no matter what it is, without exception, stems from emotional issues. So when you talk about shadow work that needs to be done, that is the healing that needs to be done that will help with the gut health as well as the weight or whatever is not in alignment for you, okay? So they do manifest as illnesses and ailments in order to get us to pay attention to it, because it wasn't enough when it was an emotional issue, because we were disregarding it when it was an emotional issue. So then it becomes a physical ailment, so that it's like, here's your ultimatum, listen to us or deal with this, Sending you so much love, Ashley. So the next question is from Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Hello, dearest Cody. Asking for some clarity surrounding a particular relationship. Is it a new flame, and wondering any insights as to what role this person is and if this is the best position for them in my life, romantic partnership, material, or friends. I have a lot of PTSD during the coming up lately. I think that's what you meant. Filters coming up. Trauma filters coming up. Asking for your divine insight and assistance in navigating this. Thank you in advance. Okay, Kayla. So when I already have so I can already see this. I'm going to be honest, Kayla. What I'm seeing here, and you can use your discretion, of course, I don't see this person physically, so I just feel obligated to kind of just say that. But I will say that when I look at this particular relationship, it looks like, well, we talked about collaboration earlier. We talked about collaboration, and we are spirits, we are beings that collaborate. We have to use one another to help us become fully embodied and empowered in who we can be. The greatest possible potential of what we can be. So, collaboration is going to happen regardless if you're in alignment or not. When we put ourselves in alignment, we're collaborating with people who are in our highest good, who are going to help us get to where we are meant to be, actualizing our full self, and we're also going to help them as well. And in addition to that, us being empowered and then connected also creates another ripple which affects the highest good and helps assist and regulate the high regulation and flow of the universe at large, right? It keeps the universe in cohesion when we are in our optimal selves. Now, if we are not in alignment, we are still attracting collaborators, but collaborators that really are in the same sort of disempowered state as us, which is only going to create more of that sense of disempoweredness, okay? So that being said, Kayla, I want to say that there are things to learn from every single person that you interact with. There's no happenstance in this universe. However, if you are looking for this person to be your romantic partnership material, I would advise against that, just because you're just both not in the right place right now, to say it in layman's terms. You want to be in a good place when you invite in a partner, because it's going to get messy. Now, you have a right to do that. You have the right to learn your lessons any way that you want to. The universe is not going to stop teaching you things just because you're deciding to learn it one way instead of the easy way. So if you were to connect more with this person, it's going to maybe be fun in the beginning. However, later, it's going to speak to a lot of your boundary violations. It's going to make you not feel emotionally safe. This person doesn't have the right emotional capacity to hold space for you in the ways that you need to. This person is going to inevitably sort of feed on or perpetuate certain mental loops and negative patterns in your thoughts. It's just all around. I gotta be honest. Like I can just go on about this, but I want to exercise caution for you with this person moving forward. It's not like I would say this person is like really dangerous or anything like that, you know. But I will say that if you're looking for somebody who's going to be like your next secure attachment figure, have really secure boundaries with this person. Okay, there's, you know, you can be connected, but you have to have really strong boundaries. And in order to have really strong boundaries, you have to know your boundaries. And what they're showing for me, for you, Kayla, is you are not in the right place literally in your life right now. Locationally, physically, emotionally. There is so much gaslighting trauma. There is so much codependency is key for you. So this relationship would go hand in hand with that, but also codependency with your mom as well. This is a situation, if you live with your parents, if you live with your mom, this would be a good place to put boundaries up and have establish that secure sense of self so that you know what your boundaries are, so that you can invite in healthy relationships for yourself, so that you can allow yourself to heal from that trauma, that PTSD that you talked about. Every single one of us has PTSD, and I know you know this, Kayla, and I'm talking to everybody out there. Every one of us has PTSD. Every one of us has suppressed emotion that residually reoccurs and remanifests in our lives as anxiety or triggers that don't really make sense often in the present moment, in the context of the present moment, but it does when you think of the context of your entire life, okay? So, short answer, Kayla, is just have strong boundaries with this person and there's another message for you. You're being gaslit, like, immensely right now. And it's not anyone's particular fault, especially when it's codependency. You might actually be able to have healthy relationships with a lot of these people that you're codependent with, even if it is your mom. You could have a good relationship with them later on when, you heal a lot of that stuff. However, trust yourself, Kayla. You are an incredibly wise, smart, intellectual, and wise. I've said wise already. I've said it twice because you are very wise and you're very evolved as well. Trust that. You're a person that when I look at you vibrationally, you'd be able to help every single person that wrote in a question here today. Literally, you would be able to help them. I know that. And that goes for a lot of you. Trust that knowledge. If you were your own client in a therapy session, what would you tell yourself in this situation? You know what you need to do, and you know what steps need to be taken in order to continue following your voice and not having doubters or self-doubt come in. Remember, try to position yourself in a place where there aren't as many influences of doubt. for you, that, position yourself around people who believe you, who support you. It's so self-explanatory, but you need to be reminded that you're not crazy, that you do have this awareness, and you have to trust yourself. Trust your gut, trust your heart, move in the direction of your heart, listen to your gut, okay? And they have me emphasizing this for you right now, because that is really the only way you can get out of this situation without it just everybody getting hurt. You know what I mean? Okay. So we're going to pull one more card just to end the session. We're already at 50 minutes. This has been so wonderful. Just a reminder, you guys, please subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bell notification if you haven't already, so you can receive new videos, new transmissions. And also subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts as well. You can listen to the audio portion of this on your nature walk or on your drive to work. Maybe not your drive to work if you're listening to light language transmissions. However, if you're going for a nature walk, or if you're just sitting outside or in meditation, sometimes it's helpful to just listen to the audio. The visual is not really that important, okay? So, the card that we pulled today, the last card here, this is the final card of the deck, is commitments, okay? So they're showing me, this goes hand in hand with you, Kayla, as well, boundaries, family, okay? What I'm seeing here is family. I'm seeing all of these people in our lives that were so influential to us growing up, that we still are tethered to, that we still are enmeshed with. And when we are enmeshed with these people in our lives, what's happening is we are redistributing our energy without our conscious permission. A lot of our life force energy that could be going into ourselves is going into codependent relationships, difficult relationships, conflicting dynamics in relationships, people with unresolved issues with you, that there needs to be more boundaries or cords that need to be cut. Okay, so this is really clear. We talked about independence, so that's also boundaries. Commitments, so commitments in this card, in this reference of what I'm seeing clairvoyantly, cutting cords. Remember to cut cords. Remember that your energy belongs to you, okay? Nobody else, you. And you get to choose what to do with that. Don't think that you're a bad person if you have to pull your energy from somebody else. It's like the oxygen mask analogy. You have to put your, what do they tell you on a plane? You have to put your oxygen mask on before you help anybody else. Otherwise, you're all doomed, okay? Help yourself so that you can help other people. It doesn't make you a bad person. A lot of you have this trauma complex of needing to be a good person, wanting to be a good person. And that's because you have trauma around what would happen if you were a bad person. Were you punished? That trauma is still stuck in your being and wants to be discharged. So give it permission to discharge by allowing yourself to feel the way that you feel. That's today's message, guys. Thank you so, so much. This was so wonderful. I really, really enjoyed these so much, you guys. Thank you so, so much. Sending you so much love. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.